Welcome to the July 21st, 2021 regular meeting of the Historic District Commission. Thank you all for being here this evening. For those that don't know me, my name is Regan Miner and I am the chairman of the commission. And I have a little spiel just to read in advance to explain how the meeting will be operating today. And so without further ado, my commission members have heard this ad nauseum, so forgive me, everybody. I just wanted to let everyone know that this meeting is being recorded and that if you're not speaking, if you guys could just be on mute, that would be super helpful just so that any background noise doesn't get into the Zoom meeting. So our meeting tonight will be broken up into two sections. The first section will be the public hearing, and then the second section will be the regular meeting. So the public hearing is the opportunity for the applicants present to explain and present their applications to the commission and for the commission to ask the applicants questions. Once the public hearing closes, the regular meeting will then begin. The regular meeting is where the commission discusses and votes on applications. Applicants are welcome to stay and listen to the regular meeting portion of the meeting. But please note you will not be allowed to speak or provide any more information on your application. So you can stay, but you're not required to. And all applicants will receive written notification regarding the commission's decision tomorrow, which is Thursday, July 22nd. So they'll get a written email via myself explaining how the commission voted the night before. So that's all I have for my little spiel. Is there any questions before we move forward here? Okay, awesome. And I still don't see Tim or Greg, but we'll just power on without them. So at this point, I'm going to open up the public hearing, which is at 5:34 p.m. And we have only one COA on our agenda here this evening. It's COA 461-44 East Town Street, and I believe we have the applicant present this evening. So Charlene, I'll let you take it away and tell us what you're planning on doing.
Oh, okay. What we're planning on doing is replacing the roof on our home. It is damaged. It is well over its lifespan, as we've been told by multiple roofers, because we got multiple I'm not sure what to call it. We had them come out and check it, multiple people to check it. And I did that before we actually bought the home, and I did some after we bought the home. And we finally decided on one, and it's leaking. So that's always fun. And yeah, that's basically what it boils down to, is we're just wanting to replace the roof. And we made sure that they understood that this is a historic home. That is something that we had commented on so many times. You know, in case you hadn't noticed, there's a little sign on the front of the house that says it's a historic home here. So, so it's very important to us that, you know, it has to be the same, if not similar material. It has to be the same color scheme that it already is, because we don't really want to change anything per se, not just because of it being a historic home, is because it has a garage that doesn't need to be changed because it's not as old. And no one wants a different color roof in their garage. So there is that. And I do have, other than the COA that I turned in, I also have a sample of the roofing material here. Let me see if I can. It's like a booklet of different roofing materials. And I'm going to see if I can show you. See if I can. There. This. Here we go. This right here is the closest, and to me and to the roofer himself, it is like pretty darn identical to the color that it is right now. So this color is supposed to be Old English pewter, classic colors, and it's like an, I don't know, it looks like an asphalt type material. It looks like it's the same type material that's on there now. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't know what else to say about it.
No, that's great. Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here this evening. Do any members of the commission have questions for Charlene? Hi, Jennifer.
So what are the, what material is the present roof constructed with? It's not wood shingles then? It's asphalt, or what is it?
Currently, it is, no, it's not wood shingles. It looks like the asphalt material. It is an asphalt type material that's on there currently. It isn't the wood shingles like we've seen down the street or across the street. It's not the small wood shingles, no.
So you'd be proposing to replace it with similar material? That's what you're
Yes, as
saying?
close as possible to the material that it has on there now. If this
Okay.
isn't, this actually looks just like it to me.
All right, okay, thank you.
And I think the COA mentioned something about architectural shingles, which makes sense and would be appropriate.
Okay.
I think I'm trying to find it right here. So on page 4, Nancy, of the COA, it talks about the materials list and it says Old English pewter architectural roof shingles.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks pretty straightforward to me, Rick.
Thanks, Greg. Richard, do you have any questions?
Got to find the mic thing. No, it's pretty, pretty standard. It's just a 1-for-1,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I'm okay.
All right. Thanks, Richard. Thanks, everybody. I don't have any questions for you, Charlene, either. The only comment I'll make, you and I had chatted via email prior to the meeting, and it's my mistake for not telling you that the meeting was coming up as soon as it was, because I looked at the calendar myself and was like, oh my goodness. So
Yeah.
if next month, if you just want to do the COA for the electrical work that you guys did that Richard approved, just so that we have it on record that it was done and that it's all set. So if you could just want to do that
Yes.
for next month, that would be
I will do that. I was thinking that I had to get the signature of the contractor on there, but now that I'm looking at it, I don't have to have the signature. It just needs to be an applicant's signature.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I can go ahead and do that and get that to you as soon as possible, because I don't see him. He's not exactly close here. He actually was supposed to come and do the work today, but
Oh,
because
okay.
of it raining, he will not do it. So he's going to do it tomorrow. So
Yeah,
fingers
blame him.
crossed it gets done tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so just send me over the application and we'll have it for our August meeting and it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I'll make sure to get it and then I'll scan it in and send it to you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes.
So are there any further questions for Charlene? Anyone on the commission? I see heads shaking.
No.
So Charlene, you're welcome to stick around if you'd like, or if you need to run off, that's totally fine too. And you'll get an email from me tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. I think I will go ahead and run off. It's kind of spotlight shy. So thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Okay, let me get back to my agenda here. Okay, so we have no further COAs on our agenda here. So at this point, the public hearing will close at 5:41 p.m. and the regular meeting will now commence. And the first item on our agenda, oops, I keep losing my agenda, sorry everybody, is action on COAs. So I would entertain a motion to approve COA 461 44 East Town Street as presented and submitted.
I move we approve the application.
Thank you, Nancy. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Greg, thank you for seconding. Any discussion?
That's pretty clear, pretty routine.
All right, hearing no further discussion, I'll do the roll call vote just based on where you guys are in my Zoom screen here. So Greg, I'll start with you.
Yay.
Nancy,
Yay.
Richard,
Okay.
and myself, yay. So the motion passes unanimously. Thank you all so much. Moving forward here, the next item on our agenda is approval of the minutes from the Wednesday, June 16th, 2021 regular meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as written and submitted?
So moved.
Thank you, Richard. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Nancy, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll do the roll call vote again. So Greg,
I'm going to abstain since I was not at the meeting.
sounds good. Nancy,
Yay.
Richard,
Yay.
and then Regan, yay. So the motions passes. Thank you very much, everybody. Next up, I don't really have anything for a chairman's report, so I'm going to move into old business at this time. And what I was hoping to have done by this meeting is that I had wanted to have an updated list of members in the, or I should say residents in the two historic districts. And between moving and being off, I just didn't get a chance to get to it until recently. And I was actually hoping if I could have a little help. I'm gonna call out Richard if you would mind helping me with this task. I'm finding that it's taking more time than I want it to. And what I would love to propose is if you could help me find the addresses, updated addresses of everybody in the two local districts. I have a lot of the email addresses, at least for Norwich Town. So my goal is to have this updated list of email addresses and addresses for people in the two local districts. So Richard, I'm hoping you can help me.
Yeah, no, I can help you. It's, you just want to tie a physical address to a name.
Correct. Yeah, there's been a lot of turnover recently, and I'm realizing when I looked over my list that it's extremely outdated. So I can send you the 2 Excel spreadsheets that I have right now, and all we need to do is just update the names with the appropriate addresses.
Yeah, I can go into the city records and check that, I guess. That's
Perfect.
easy enough. I don't want to go knock on doors.
No, I don't either, No, we could use the city database for that. Yeah, that would just help me out tremendously because it's been
No
quite a
problem.
month. So,
No problem, send it on.
all right, fabulous. I will send you those Excel sheets that I have. So, and I did start it already. So I've given you a head start, and then I moved, and then everything went downhill from there. So,
Okay. Okay.
thank you. I appreciate that very much. So next up, we have new business, and we have received 2 submissions to our RFP to update our design guidelines. So we did get 2 responses, which is better than the 0 we had before. What I'd like to do now is review the applications together to decide which consultant we think would be best to help us with this project. What I'm putting in the chat is the guidelines that were in the RFP of how we decide, and I can read it for the record as well. So our bidder qualifications for the design guidelines RFP state that preference will be given to consultants who have experience with historic districts and historic preservation. So that's what we're using as a grading criteria. Did everyone have a chance to look at the applications that were, or I should say the submissions that were sent to us?
So you have one from Damien and one from Norwich CT Design.
Mhm. Yeah, one was from Damien Krago and the other was from a gentleman named Chris Skelly from Shelburne Falls, Massachusetts. So those are the 2 that we received.
So
Is the application period over at this point? So we're, closed off, no further applications? Is that?
Yeah, that's correct. So the deadline, I believe, was July 13th to send RFPs to myself. They were emailed submissions. So I've not received any further submissions than the 2 that we have.
And so we ready to go, or I think, I'll go to the mail pretty soon. Then we'll go to a meeting.
You know, she can do them in the morning, I
Are they
think.
gonna go tomorrow?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be
I
fine.
didn't think it's like earlier, it's like Debbie being out, I guess. And give him time.
That's okay.
But
I can say one thing, these things, they're right proud of what they're doing.
I mean, I guess my first thought when I read through these is that the one person, Chris Skelly, gave
Mhm.
a lot more information about themselves and about their experience. I didn't see anything from Damien on that.
Yeah, I agree. I think Chris Kelly's submission was a little bit longer, which was great because it included a scope of work and task list, and then a whole section on his relevant experience. So I found that his application was, or his submission was definitely more thorough.
Hmm.
So what's your goal tonight? To get
Um,
one,
my goal is to pick a consultant to move forward, so that I can tell the city to get a contract together with them, so that we can move forward starting in August with this project.
okay, we have the funding in line?
Yes, we have our grant it's a certified local government grant that is been awarded to us via the city of Norwich, from the State Historic Preservation Office. So,
What
and
is the
I'll add
amount?
that oh, go ahead. Sorry, Richard.
What is the amount of the grant?
Yeah, I was just gonna add that. Thank you. So our grant is for $20,000. So both proposals fall within our $20,000 budget.
Now, Damien's proposal was the lowest cost. Do we have, I mean, is there any requirement that we have to accept the lowest cost bid or?
No, not to my knowledge. I don't believe we have to accept the lowest qualified bidder.
Okay.
I don't know, I know Damien, I don't know the other guy, but I'm just not sure Damien's got the background from what I know that he does anyways.
Yeah, I don't know Chris either, of course. I think we all know Damien just by being locals. I don't know Chris. I was impressed by his professional experience, and I liked how he laid out his scope of work and task list. I think Chris has a lot of really good experience, which is some of the things that I'm looking at to make a good decision based on the consultants that we move forward with.
Do we have any like work samples from, or example work products from either person that we could look at to see, what we might expect to get from them?
Yeah, I don't have either from
Yeah.
either submission, no.
What is Chris? Oh, their address. Is he physically going to have to come here and meet with us, right?
Yeah, yep. And he included that in his, let me scroll back up,
Yeah.
here. Task list and scope of work.
Where is Shelburne Falls, Massachusetts?
That's in the Berkshires. So
Oh,
like near
quite
Springfield,
away then.
near Springfield, Massachusetts.
And
Well,
sorry, my video keeps dropping out. New camera's coming tomorrow. Yeah, how important is accessibility to the person?
I think that's up to us to decide. I mean, right now, we are meeting virtually, and the way I'm interpreting the city they sent out a memo on July 1st stating that, we can continue to meet virtually as long as we reserve technology with the city in advance. And then they gave me a whole list of other things to do. So we could just continue to meet virtually. It sounds like Chris still is planning on coming down to meet with us and review the districts as well. So I don't know if accessibility is that big of a deal, in the sense that I think Chris said he'd already come down as it is, and we're meeting virtually so he could participate easily in Zoom calls moving forward as well. And of course, Damien lives here, which is which is great and convenient too. So
He
Mhm.
lives here. He lives here sometimes, right?
that's true.
It's-
Goes
it's-
between a couple different places every now and again.
I mean, it looks like, I just looked on the map, and it looks like Chris is just under 2 hours away.
And of course, Damien doesn't spend 100% of his time here either.
Correct. He travels too.
So the only thing, one thing, I'm just looking back to the proposal again on Chris Skelly's proposal. He has his proposed budget, but then he says extra meetings, if required, would be billed extra. I only see 2-3 meetings called out in his work plan.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if we think that's sufficient or not, because that would drive the cost up the way he has things laid out right now, if we wanted more meetings with him.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Well, my impression is that the way we do things, we would require more meetings.
That's my concern too, is that we're gonna, it's gonna stretch out longer than this time frame. And did we specify that it had to be done by December?
This is just based on the grant application that I have. I'm sure that if we do run a little bit longer than anticipated, it's likely we could get a grant extension.
Oh, so you said the work had to be done by December?
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at the contract that I have with the state, but the timeline was based on how long we had the grant for. We got the grant last year already. And it's just taken us this long to get moving here. So
okay.
Grants are normally a year in duration. So we're kind of coming up on that year in the spring, frankly, which is why I wanted all the work to be done by the end of the calendar year.
Mm.
If we need an extension, I'm sure that one would be granted, but let's see where we can go first with our allotted timeline.
Well, one of the things that I noticed in comparing the two is that Skelly gives us a copy of his liability insurance. We know whether Damien has that?
Yeah, that's a good question, Richard. And that was brought up with the purchasing agent. And let me find that email so that I'm not saying something inaccurate. So just give me 1 second before I. So we had talked at length about the insurance requirements. Since this is technically an RFP that we're doing via the city of Norwich, Bob had said, he's the purchasing agent for the city. He said that they could reduce the insurance requirements for this project, and Damien, as an independent consultant, doesn't have his own liability insurance. So I think that was worked out where, hang on, let me just check one more thing. I don't want to misspeak, so I'm just double checking my emails here. So yes, so the city does have flexibility in their requirements for a project of this scope, which is less than $20,000. And Bob had mentioned to Damien when he submits his proposal, just send whatever proposed insurance coverage he has for the project. And I have not heard from him since, so I'm assuming Damien provided Bob with whatever he needed to make a determination. So I have not been in the loop on that correspondence since the initial email.
I suppose one concern, if we had to pay $75 for more meetings, we actually don't have any other source of money anyway, do we? We would have the 1,000 left from the grant, and we have nothing else to pay anybody with, right?
No, that'd be correct, yeah. I mean, the grant would be all that we could afford to pay them extra.
I mean, there is an extra 1,000, I guess, out of this thing.
Yeah.
So it's hard to believe that
1,000,
you'd go
yeah.
over that, right? So I
Should
guess
probably
it's
be-
okay.
That'd be more meetings than, that would cover more meetings than I would want to attend anyway. So.
Yeah, that is very true. That, yes, I guess there's enough of a buffer.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like either one could do the job, right? What do you think, Regan? You probably looked at this more carefully than the rest of us.
Well, I mean, yes, I think it's challenging because Damien's a friend of all of ours. And so, you know, I don't want to,
Slight him.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
I do see that Chris has a lot of great experience. And so, and he has experience in this exact topic, which is appealing to me. So just based off of Chris's lengthy experience, I'm leaning towards him. Again, Damien is a friend of all of ours, so I am taking that into consideration as well, making this decision.
Right. Hmm.
And that was my thoughts as well, Rickon, is that it just seemed like that Chris had the better experience matching the job.
Mm-hmm. I do agree. Yeah.
You know, his work plan, I don't remember exactly what we asked for. The work plan that he's laid out there for the scope of work and task list, does that align with what you were thinking of for this project?
Yes, I will double check. I'm looking at it again right now. Yeah, essentially this is what he basically used a lot of what I had included in the timeline for the RFP, but he added a few extra things, which all makes sense to me, everything that he's included.
Right.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, my concern on the timeline is that, you know, I do lots of contract work, and this one is something where he's going to have to collect a bunch of information here, and he's kind of dependent upon some other sources for getting those information. Like, you know, there's things about here about getting stuff from the city, about meeting with us and getting our feedback, and I can easily see that we could slow him down and cause delays in this timeline. And that applies equally to both people. I mean, there's part, you know, both of them, you know, as part of the process, they're going to need feedback from us, and I can see us, you know, maybe slowing things down a little bit.
Yeah, I think that may be the case either way. And obviously, I will do my best to answer any questions expeditiously as possible to help move the process along and not be the stopping block for them.
Yeah.
But I hear you.
That's kind of my concern about the schedule, is that hopefully that won't be a problem if it extends out, because I'm concerned that it's very easy for these kind of schedules to slip.
Yeah, and it was an ambitious schedule to begin with, and we would have had a little bit more time, but unfortunately we didn't get any responses when I went out to bid for the first time, so then that delayed us another month, which is regrettable, but we're here now, so.
So I guess, is there any, I guess we would need some sort of assurance that, you know, basically, even if the schedule slips, that's not going to impact the final price for either person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how this contract is set up, but like I said, I do a lot of contract stuff, and you know, depending upon how contracts are written, you know, if if we're just giving him a firm fixed price, and if it's later, that's okay. If we agree to the delay, that's fine, as long as there's not an avenue for either person to say, well, you delayed me, so I'm going to charge you extra.
I see. Yeah. No, that's a good point. And that could probably be put in a clause in like the contract or something to that extent.
Yeah. I'm sure the city, I mean, the city's going to award the contract, right?
Yeah, they have their standard, boilerplate, whatever they normally use for contractors. So that's what we'll be using.
So they're probably covered with that then. That's probably fine then.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
So what does everybody think? I know it's not an easy decision. I'm hesitant to delay another month on making a decision because I do want to get moving with this. So just wanting to hear people's thoughts and
With,
Well, why don't we go with Chris?
sorry,
Do we need a motion for that?
yeah, what I would want to do is definitely have a motion so that it's a commission vote on whichever consultant we end up going with. So we'd want it to be a vote.
tough one.
So is that a motion, Nancy?
Yeah, well, okay, so I move that we choose Chris Skelly and to accept his proposal submission for the design guideline update. I guess that's what we're calling this, right? Project?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Greg. Any further discussion?
No.
I didn't think so.
I think we pretty well speed it up already.
Yeah, well, I'll just add that, I thank both applicants for their submissions. Really appreciate that both submitted a proposal for us to discuss, and I'm looking forward to moving this project forward.
Sure.
So anyway, without further ado, I will do the roll call vote. So I'll have you go first, Greg.
Aye.
Nancy,
Aye.
Richard, and then myself, aye. So the motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate all of your help and deliberations.
How long will it take the city to actually award a contract?
I don't know, actually. I hope not that long. But I'll follow up with that tomorrow.
I asked that question because I deal with the federal government a lot, and sometimes they can take weeks and weeks to actually award a contract. Hopefully, our local government is much quicker.
And if not, I'll push them and bug them. So, I'm good at prodding.
I mean, this is a pretty small amount for the kind of stuff that they would do anyway. So
Yeah, definitely. So is there anything else that anyone would like to bring up before the commission at this time?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
you brought up that, so they're gonna, the 44 is Town Street, because they're gonna submit a thing, because I was a little curious about whether that was valid for us to give them approval without having a request in a meeting or not. So
Yeah, so what normally happens, Greg, in cases like this, like when there's an emergency, like if there's a roof like actively leaking, or like if there's, this outstanding issue with their electrical box, if they just talk to myself or Richard or somebody on the commission in advance, and one of those commission members reviews the project with them, with the homeowner, or even with the city official at times, if it's consistent with what we've approved in the past, we can give them the verbal okay, and then have the follow-up paperwork and physical COA at the next meeting, just to make sure it's all documented and proper.
okay.
And I've spoken to SHPO about that too, because we've had some issues with roofs in the past where they're leaking, and people are like, I can't wait for your next meeting.
Yeah.
I got to do this tomorrow or now. And so, in extreme circumstances like that, that's okay to do. We don't want to do it often or frequently, of course. But in extreme cases, yes.
I would be surprised even in the case of a roof leaking that somebody's going to get a roofer to come in the next day and do it. Usually it takes a little time to line those guys up.
Yeah, well, I remember last May, one of the houses on Washington Street had that happen, and they had the contractor ready to go ASAP, which was great, but they were like, I need to have your blessing like now.
Yeah, and sometimes the contractor can get in there and take some protective measures just to,
Right.
just to protect the leaking until they get right in there. But a whole month is a long time, I think, to wait.
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
able
So
to
certainly
act.
if it's leaking. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, and what I do recommend is sometimes if they could just tarp it first, and then if
right.
it's okay, can they wait till our meeting? Sometimes yes, sometimes no, and then each circumstance is different, basically. So each one is kind of a its own issue. that we have to-
Individual
Yeah, it's in its own individual
analysis. Yeah.
circumstances. Yeah, exactly.
I was also just, I guess I'm a little surprised that something like an electrical connection even has to come before the commission, because there's not really any design choices on that. It's, the power company puts it in, it's a standard looking thing.
Mhm.
It has to, you have to have it, you have to have power. So I'm not
Right.
exactly sure why that even comes before us.
I think it depends on the placement, Greg. So if it's like front and center of the house, obviously we'd want to comment on that. And maybe recommend a more unobtrusive.
Even there, I don't know that how much latitude you really have on that.
Well, the other thing we could recommend is if they paint it to at least match the front of the house, say, matching the paint colors to have it blend in more.
You're kind of locked into where the drop is from the pole, where they put the drop on a house.
Right, that's my point. It just seems like something that there's so little room to maneuver on that I'm not sure why it even needs to come to us. But
Well, we have in the past passed on these things for several people. I mean,
yeah,
it isn't unique by any means. So, in this case, she was under the gun for getting the funding. The seller was supposed to be paying for the work to be done, the electrical work, but he had put a time limit on it. And so he had to do something prior to the time limit.
Yep.
Running up on it.
Get it.
Yeah. Each situation is different.
So
But good questions, Greg. Thank you.
welcome. So is it our plan to continue on Zoom then? Is that
Yeah, it sounded like everybody liked that thought last time.
okay?
I like it.
See, I thought you might like to have the in-person meetings because it'd get you out of the office sooner.
No, I had to go to court for real yesterday and I didn't like it at all. I don't want to go there anymore. They make us actually go there for a restraining order thing, the awful things, but that's the only thing we go there for in the family side. And I did not want to be there. It was a lot of trouble to go down there and park and drag your briefcase in there and wear the stupid mask and have to wait around for other people to be heard. It was really annoying. I'm like, I don't ever want to come back here. I just wanted to have my scheduled time and do my little remote hearing, and then I'm done, and no wasted time. That's it. I like it.
Yeah.
I get out of the office enough. I walk around out there, going back and forth, home, food store. That's about it, right? But it's annoying to go there. I can't believe I did it for like 100 years. That's what I did. And I don't want to go there. I just didn't. There's no point. We can do it right on the Zoom thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just get it all done.
And even if we went to in person, we need to figure out a way to record the meeting to make it accessible anyway. So
Oh, really?
that's part of the updated requirements that the city sent me. So
Yeah.
it's just easier, frankly, because we're recording Zoom right now. It's easy to send that file to the IT department to then upload to our website after the fact. So yeah,
Okay.
we could figure out if we really missed everybody because we haven't really seen everybody in a
Yeah.
while. We could figure out maybe we do an in-person meeting in the fall and we figure out how to record it, and I can ask
I'm-
Christy.
I'm not against staying on Zoom. I mean, it takes a lot longer for me to try and get downtown to City Hall than it does to come home. And I'm usually coming from New London from work, and I'm always pressed for time anyway. So it's easier to just go home than it is to get on Zoom than it is to drive downtown and
Mhm.
get up to the third floor in City Hall. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
so
Hear you. Well, we can keep chatting. We can stay on Zoom for the time being. It hasn't been an issue thus far, so we can reevaluate each meeting if you guys want to talk about it each meeting to see where we're at with.
I'm fine as long as the city says. I was just curious because I thought I saw something about the governor say like June 30th. It was like a cutoff date or something about when you had to have Zoom meetings. So I was wondering if that was going away, that everybody was kind of going to be kind of pushed to go back to in-person meetings.
Yeah, it's not a push to do in person. It's just and I'm happy to email you guys what I got from the city. It's just new legislation for meeting technology for public access, according to the new bill effective July 1st, which is requiring in-person, hybrid, or remote meetings to comply with the Freedom of Information Act, and it outlines like 4 things that we have to do if we wanted to do virtual, in-person, or hybrid meetings. So I'm happy to send that if anyone's curious to to read it.
Sounds like it's easier to meet the requirements on Zoom. So,
Yeah, it's true.
okay. Good with me.
All right, cool. So speaking of next meeting, our next regular meeting is Wednesday, August 18th, 2021 at 5:30. And that's all I got for everybody. So
Okay.
is there a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Thank you, Nancy. Was that a second, Richard?
That was it.
That was a second. Great. And I'll just do the roll call one last time. So Greg, Nancy,
Aye.
Richard, and myself, I. So thanks, everybody. We will see you next month.
All right. Sounds
Okay.
good. Thanks, Regan.
Thank you, Reagan. Thank you,
Bye, guys.
everybody.
Enjoy the
Bye
day.
now.
Send me that material.
I'll send it to you, Richard. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.